Hello, everybody. I got all discombobulated there and left the preview screen up. Anyway, hello, it's James. It's the Late Tea Time podcast, and very good to have you with us. It's the big one. It is the Open Championship up there at Royal Troon, and also up there at Royal Troon is. I'm all right, thank you. How are you? Is it? How's the weather up there?
Yesterday was drizzly, and today has been really, really lovely. It's not warm. We're in Scotland. It's summer, so it's not boiling hot. I was in Evian at the fourth women's major championship of the year last week, and it was very hot there. It's just a nice Scottish summer day at the moment. A nice cooling breeze. We're going to have a bit of rain tomorrow morning. We could have a lot of rain on Sunday. But I think we're set for quite a nice test here. It should be breezy, and this golf course is all about the two different nines and the breeze and what impact that has on scoring.
Well, we might have to put this out a bit later because the reason I got discombobulated at the start of this Late Tea Time podders is that the got a notification on the streaming device that we now need to have a premium Twitter account or X account to stream live on Twitter. So this might go out a little bit later, and we have got a few viewers maybe watching us on Instagram, but this will go out later anyway. I'll stick it onto Twitter later on. But let's run you through the top end of the markets, and surprise, that old name at the top end is Scotty Scheffler 6-1, Rory McIlroy 9-1, fresh from his disappointment last time out at the majors, and the Scheffler 14-1. My mate Colin Morikawa is 18s, Ludwig Oberg is 18s, Bryson DeChambeau 20s, Tommy Fleetwood is 22s, Tyrrell Hatton 28s, and the rest are bigger. But before we get into talking about the players themselves, let's talk a little bit about Royal Troon. I've read a few things about the bunkers are quite punishing. You need to basically avoid those at all costs, and maybe because of the weather that we've had, it might be some of the rough is a little bit thicker than it might otherwise be. Is that the case?
I think you're spot on, James. If you look through the history of Royal Troon, the bunkers have come into play many, many times. There was a German amateur called Hermann, literally Hermann the German, and back in the 50s, he took 15 shots at the postage stamp, and that included a tee shot and a one putt. The other 13 shots were taken going from bunker to bunker. Bobby Clampett led by 7 with 31 holes to play in 1982. He found a bunker 3 times on the par 5, 6th, and that ended his hopes. So I think the bunkers are going to really come into play. I was some Japanese journalists out on the course earlier today, and I was asking them about what they made of the golf course, and they made a point of saying, we've talked to the players, and these bunkers are deeper than they've ever seen. So they're a very genuine threat here. Tiger Woods was in yesterday. He also said exactly the same thing, that these are not bunkers that the Americans are used to, where if you find a fairway bunker, you can still make the green. And that's possible, but it's highly, highly unlikely here. They're penalising bunkers, and the rough you're spot on it. They're not perhaps as green as you might expect, but they're long, they're lush. The greens are definitely green. The fairways are green, but that rough it's like classic sort of fescue-y golden wave of hair, almost like a sort of Greg Norman's hair in the rough. It's lovely. It's lovely to look at.
So Greg Norman has got involved at last. Anyway, we are looking ahead then to the 152nd Open. What's on the basis of what we've just talked about there, that it might be quite a tough course to get yourself around and navigate around safely anyway. And what kind of score are we looking at as the potential winning score after 72 holes?
Yeah, well, you'll remember, of course, that Phil Mickelson equals the major championship best score when he finished second here 8 years ago, and Henrik Stenson destroyed that previous mark. But Henrik Stenson himself was chatting to me yesterday, and he said that he expects, having seen the whole course and having seen how the back nine, which is the toughest nine, has been made even more difficult, he thought if the weather stays as it was yesterday, and it was predicted to pretty much do that, he thought 10 under would win. And that indicates it's going to be quite a tough week for the players. It's also worth bearing in mind that Stenson and Mickelson were sensational that week, but the rest of the field was scoring pretty much what Stenson's predicting for this week. So in actual fact, in that sense, there's only 2 men who were sensational 8 years ago. everybody else found this a difficult test. So there's every reason to think that it'll be tough again this year.
So tough conditions, and maybe 10 under might be the target for the winner. We should say thank you very much to switchwatersupplier.com for their continued support of the Late Tea Time podcast. I'm going to play an advert in just a second for them, Matt. Is it part? I know you're there, and we've got the wall behind you, and you found somewhere quiet. At the end of this podcast, are you able to take us out a little bit and show us around, or is that not going to be a?
I will endeavour to do that. We're stationed behind the first tee, so towards the end, give me warning, and I might be able to give you a glimpse of what the course is looking like.
Okay, well, let's say thank you then to switchwatersupplier.com and give Matt a chance to think about the logistics of what I've just challenged him with there.
All golfers want to stay away from the water. That splash as your round sinks beneath the surface is never a good sound. But golf courses rely on water to keep those fairways and greens lush. For that post-round shower or the clean glass at the 19th hole. Golf courses, indeed most businesses, spend way too much money on their water bills. Switch Water Supplier can cut your water costs and help your business save money. Register now at switchwatersupplier.com. They will do all the hard work and get your business the very best price for your water supply and claim money back if you've been overcharged. Switchwatersupplier.com. Switching made simple.
And thank you very much, as always, to switchwatersupplier.com for their continued support of the Late Tea Time podcast. Anyway, let's get into who we think might win the 152nd Open Championship. I would imagine, Matt, because of what you said in terms of the conditions there, that maybe that just cuts down the field in terms of the likely candidates. Is that the case?
I think that's potentially true. I also think that there's many occasions at the Open where we think that people with a good short game are going to come to the fore, and that's often been the case in the past. Perhaps of the four majors, this is the one where the short game is most important. This course, this test, however, might be subtly different in that avoiding the fairway bunkers is going to be key. So we're looking at sort of stronger tee to green performers. It's also worth bearing in mind that it's an odd course. The front nine is really quite vulnerable, and the back nine is really brutally tough, and that's where the quality driving, the quality second shots are gonna really count. There's some amazing stats the other day that came out that Phil Mickelson has had only 4 bogey-free rounds in his entire Open Championship career, and all 4 of them were at Troon. 2 when he was third in 2004, and 2 when he was second in 2016. But get this, in all of those 8 rounds in the 21st century at Troon, Mickelson has never made a bogey on the front nine. And that kind of reveals to you, I mean, he's a high-class player, but the threat is less on that front nine. Yeah, so it's an interesting test, but I'm favouring players that have the creativity that's required at an open venue, but also got a strong tee to green game.
Does that bring my friend Colin Morikawa into the picture, because he's very good with his irons, isn't he?
I think it's a really valid point, and the fact that he did quite well at the Scottish Open last week is quite instructive, because until that point he had a really peculiar record on the link. You know, he'd won at Royal St George's in 2021, but basically every time he was on the links he was rubbish. But of course, it's not only the fact that he was impressive last week; he's also been impressive in all the majors. The big thing with him is he played with Scotty Scheffler in the final round at Augusta. He played with Xander Schauffele in the final round at the PGA Championship. So he's seen, and he spoke about how he's seen what it takes to win a major. He played well in the US Open as well. So everything's there, except somehow he keeps losing the X factor in the final round. But it would be hard to say that he's not going to have a chance this week.
My other 2 picks this week, I know we're on this to get your picks, but I'm going to give you mine first. My other 2 picks this week are, I just fancy Tommy Fleetwood to scramble his way around and do well. And Rory, I think Rory could kind of rid himself of the demons of last time out and actually go the full, right to the top of the podium this time. Any views on those 2?
Well, I was actually just in Tommy Fleetwood's press conference just before I came on the podcast, and he was very relaxed, and he was very, very happy to have his good friend Ian Finnis back on his bag. I actually saw Ian Finnis outside the media centre as well and gave him a little thumbs up because everyone's very pleased to see him back after he's had a little health scare. But Tommy looked really relaxed, I thought, and he's well aware that he's come very, very close to winning this event. He was in the final group out at Port Rush in 2019 and didn't quite get it done. When Shane Lowry really had that event in his control, Tommy was also banged in the hunt halfway last year. He's sort of in his home city of Liverpool. So he's got very, very close. Whether he can quite get over the line, it's very, in that respect, it's very similar to Colin Morikawa, of course. Rory, I agree with you. If we cast our mind back to 2011, he had that terrible experience of hoiking his tee shot into the hidden chalets in the woods, Augusta. A place that no one had been to before and no one had been to since. Quite a humiliating experience. And what did he do? He went and won the US Open in his next start. So he's got that capacity. It might well be that this was such a stinging experience. It's actually the one that can vault him to do something better. The only thing I would say against that is his long-term difficulties getting over the line in majors. If the bookies had decided that what happened at Pinehurst had really destroyed him and they're offering me 16 to 1, I would jump at it. But they haven't really. They know that people want to back him, and so his price remains quite short.
Anyway, I've given you my picks. What about you? Where do you see the famous claret jug and the champion golfer of the week will be? Drum roll, Matt Cooper.
I think that you named all those golfers that are 20s and under, and I just wonder whether Jon Rahm should be there. We all know what's happened in the last 15 months. I suspect that the problems started the week after he won the Masters, when he had to go and play Harbour Town, the RBC Heritage, because of the new PGA Tour schedule that was set up to challenge Liv. He didn't like playing there after he'd won the Masters. He thought it was disruptive towards his chances to win the next majors in that season. The same thing happened after the US Open. He had to go and play River Highlands. I think he started getting niggardly just about then. Didn't like what the support schedule was making him do, and I think that probably influenced his reason to go to Liv. We all suspect he's not especially happy at Liv, so he's been in a bit of a grumpy mood. He got injured and didn't play in the US Open, and I think that might be just what gives him the sort of mental nudge to actually improve his major performances. I think if you look at it and say Jon Rahm has finished top 3 in 2 of the last 3 Opens. He finished 3rd in his penultimate start. He's won 2 majors, and he's won twice on links land in the Irish Open. If you look at that, you'd be gobsmacked that you could get him at over 20s and bigger than that. And so, just on price, Jon Rahm is my man.
Yeah, Jon Rahm, best price of 30 to 1. If you fancy putting your money behind the big Spaniard, if he keeps himself cool and collected, then he may have a chance this week up there at Royal Troon. It always feels, Matt, like the Live golfers, they feel like they're hidden away a little bit, and then they come back into the majors, and it's their chance to kind of go, "Hey, we still exist, we're good." And Jon Rahm has that chance, doesn't he, this time?
Well, not just him. I mean, you look at Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, the fellow was the halfway leader in the Masters this year. It took a sensational performance by Xander Schauffele to beat him at Valhalla in the PGA Championship. He won Pinehurst, and he's 20s. I mean, if Rory had done that, but then he knows what price Rory would be for this tournament. Yeah, so I think you banged on. There's something about the big question with both of them is playing Valderrama last week. Is that really a good preparation for playing links golf? We've seen in recent years that most Open winners play some golf that the week before that really helps them. But then again, people have won it when that's not been the case. But yeah, I think you make a valid point. Live have been forgotten this year, and I think continue to be so this week.
Just one more question. Adam Scott played really well in Scotland, didn't he, in the Scottish Open? And he's a very cool, calm, and collected player that's seen every condition under the sun in his time because he's getting on a bit now. Has he got any chance this time, or is he? Do you think is he past it, or is he still going to be up there punching?
It's really interesting, isn't it? I thought something similar when he did so well, just pulling up short with Robert McIntyre. Sometimes finishing second could be a heck of a good boost for his case, he'll be thinking, what the heck do I have to do? A little bit like McIntyre did. McIntyre was brilliant at last year's Scottish Open. He did think he probably won it. Rory McIlroy betted it. Adam Scott was probably in a similar situation to McIntyre this time around. And it might be that this week is the week. I suppose the one down with him is it's a long, long time since he's contended in a major. But the flip side of that is that he really should have won this tournament. He was 4 shots clear with 4 holes to play at Royal Liverpool before making bogey at each of those holes and not even getting a playoff because anyone else made a birdie. So he's got that terrible, agonising memory to deal with. But I would not be surprised to see him have a good week.
I mean, it's quite a big price to win the entire thing, but I mean, you can obviously get on the basis of that, you'll be able to get a fairly decent price on him, top 20, top 10, that kind of market as well, which I can see him hanging around for the weekend anyway. Anyway, I gave you a challenge. How are we going to tackle this challenge? Actually, before you do that, before you do that, Matt, you mentioned Robert McIntyre, who is the form horse, really, isn't he, in World Golf? He's playing really nicely. I actually put some money behind him in the last major, and he was up there for a while. But this is on home soil, and he won on home soil last week. He's going to come in with loads of confidence, isn't he?
Well, it's quite interesting. Do you remember Phil Mickelson won the Scottish Open and then won the Open the week later? And he too, of course, was a left-hander, so we could be set for a sort of a double cap-handed win of the Open. Yeah, he's really good. I mean, I'll just quickly tell you a few others that I like. Tom Kim, creativity, major performance. There's some great stats came out today from a stat company, which had all the strokes gained stats from the last 20 years on links courses in Great Britain and Ireland. Tom Kim was not just clear of the rest of the field; he was quite a long way clear of them. I think you get 50s on him. My real answer is Eric Cole. I think the American's dad led the Open of 54 holes in 1975. He showed a bit of form in the last 2 Scottish Opens. I think he's got a little bit of a chance of being inspired by what his dad did. And I think Matthew Southgate's out early tomorrow, and he is another who's very inspired by the Open. As a kid, he dangled his legs over the bridge on the Barry Burn and watched John van der Velde paddle around in the water. He went with his dad to the 2009 Open to watch Tom Watson, who's both of their heroes. He was 12th here in 2016. He was 6th at Royal Birkdale. Out second group, I think he's a decent chance in the first round leader, and he can get 150 to 1 with second places. So yeah, he's got a good chance. Now I will say my plan is this. Hopefully my Wi-Fi signal stands up, and I will take you from the media centre. We will make our way behind the first tee, possibly get a glimpse of the putting green, and make our way up the first. And I'll try to pretend that I'm talking to a friend all the time I'm doing it. Of course, I'm talking to friends. Of course, I'm talking to friends. So
here we go. Then.
Maybe I see.
So we can see right. There's proof now. We can see the logo there on the side of that, that little bit outside. Here we go.
There's the entry. I'm heading over to the back, behind the first. Hello, you're right. Television Sarah Sturck there behind me.
Fantastic. Look at that.
The first tee.
That's where it's all going to happen tomorrow, isn't it? Are you going to walk us around all 18?
Just going along here. Here's Joost Luiten. We're hoping that he gets to the Olympics. Sorry to hear that, Joost. Wronged. There we go. And putting green there. Just the inside on TV.
Well, I think we're on the Wi-Fi now. Oh, here we go. You're back again. You just cut out for a second.
Oh, here we go. Did you catch me? Unfortunately, telling Joost Luiten.
I think we've lost Matt. So Matt has done his best there to show us a little bit around Royal Troon.
A little bit. Here we go.
He's back. He's back. Oh wow!
There we go.
There we go.
And I'll just give you a little final look. So that's the stage. The stage
Fantastic.
set. Fingers crossed.
Give me one name then. Is it going to be John Rahm from you?
I would prefer it to be Tom Kim. Tom Kim would be the one I would really, really like. But if not John Rahm, yes, I think he's the man.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, and thank you for that little guided tour. And we will. I don't think we might be catching up with you later on in the weekend, but we will find out as we go through. But enjoy Royal Troon, Matt, and really good to have you on.
Okay, thank you very much. See ya.
And late tea time podders around the world, gamble responsibly. It's always fantastic, and it is the Open, for goodness sake. We will be back, of course, because it is a major between the rounds, ahead of round 2, ahead of round 3, and ahead of the final round as well. And we'll see you again shortly.
Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information.